Most of you listening, your daddy, your mommy who died young, that's a little globalist gift. I have the Rockefeller Foundation documents on Infowars.com. You had a child who got pediatric cancer. You might want to look up the fact that 50 years ago, they would get on airplanes and trains and travel 2,000 miles to see a child with pediatric cancer of any type. Now I can walk down to the mall today, and I guarantee you I can find children with cancer right now at the shopping mall. And I'm angry. I don't care if they kill me. I don't care if they arrest me and set me up for something. I could care less about anything now but just getting the word out. And that's all of this show is an emergency beacon. In fact, can you dig up the Klingon beacon again when we're under Klingon attack? I mean, that's what it is. I'm just here going, Mayday, 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 under sustained attack. Humankind is under red level attack, red level attack. Here's the evidence. Emergency, 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 emergency. And the cops are too busy in their gang mentality, dressed up in their little outfits, kissing up to the captain when he shows up so they can get promoted and all this to even do anything. And the general yuppies are 10 times worse than the cops. They could just care less and are running around having a good time, laughing and everything. Everything's funny. That's it. That's it. This is basically what's going on in my head all the time. And I guess I'm the bad guy. I am really the bad guy. I am the bad guy. If I teleported back to the Aztec kingdom 1,000 years ago at its height, and I could speak Mayan, and I walked up, say, in the big temples that are in Mexico City today, and I walked up to the big Great Pyramid there, and I walked up to the high priest who takes hallucinogens every day and is out of his mind and is tuned into the dark side, and I could say in Mayan, please don't sacrifice every morning 10 children. And the first thing he'd say was, well, we have, this is what the gods demand. The sun came up. We got to kill more when the sun goes down. Plus, we make our money. It's how the priest class goes out and tattles and keeps everybody paranoid and manipulates everybody with superstition. He wouldn't know that. He believes it. On his power trip with his teeth, filed, pointed, he'd say that's how we make our money. They made their money selling the long hams down at the bottom of the pyramid was the meat selling area. And the children is the most succulent meat. I mean, that's why the gods wanted children, because it was the more tasty meat. The gods get the heart, though. Nobody gets that. But you get the rest. And I would be a crazy man if you would be crazy. If you saw him chopping some little kid's heart out, they'd say, everybody here thinks it's good. And they'd all look at you and go, yeah, it's good. It's good to have open borders. It's good to torture people. It's good to have a world government. It's good to have a Federal Reserve. It's good to have the CPS, outside due process, run by a bunch of perverts and crooks and mercenaries, grabbing kids, drugging them, killing them. It's good. And so I am crazy. I am bad. I am bad. I am. I went back to the Romans 1,800 years ago during just their squalor, degeneration. And I said, you need to stop throwing men, women, and children in. By the end, the Romans were tired of just seeing gladiators killed. They like seeing little kids get killed. So you always degenerate. First, it's men. You make fights. It's kids later. They'd already exhausted all the local animals and couldn't afford to ship them in from Africa anymore, the giraffes and elephants and everything else. So those little kids, they started killing little kids in the arena, too. They liked that a lot. I guess that'd be more like 1,900 years ago. Right, yeah. And if you went back and said, if you could speak Latin, Roman, and you said, this is really wrong what you're doing. By the way, your society is getting ready to collapse. This won't be here soon. They'd look at you and say, you know what, buddy? Chain him up and throw him in the arena. It's the same thing. All the yuppies, all the trendies, they got it all figured out, man. Listen to this crazy guy saying they're putting stuff in our food and water. Oh, here's the documents. I don't want to look at that, kook. You know what? I don't want to look at that. Okay, good. Good. You don't want to look at it. Go ahead. Go ahead then. Fine. But don't say you weren't warned, because I figured out that's why I'm here and that's why others are here, so that those that have ears to hear and eyes to see will understand and get the message. And those of you that don't, well, you just, I guess, weren't meant to get it. We had an exciting headline, House approves amendment to limit Pentagon drone spying on Americans. And now it's been updated at Drudge Report. He's linked to Fox. So our story's gone because it's been updated. And, oh, House shoots down anti-drone amendment. Yeah, folks tried to keep the Pentagon from illegally watching us with our own money with 30,000 drones just to intimidate us and weaponize the airspace over the U.S. and harass people with all the new environmental takeover plans they've admitted they're going to use. But that got shot down. Oh, I'm sorry. Drudge had linked to our article about the mid-air collision or the near mid-air collision that happened yesterday. So first they approved it. Now they've shot it down. We need to update Steve Watson's article. But I'm going to tell you right now, the technocracy will be developed. It will collapse. And the globalists are going to go ahead, they're going to go ahead with their next phase of their plans. And sorry for everybody. Sorry for you. But we lied to ourselves and said that 52 million aborted babies weren't babies, so why not kill them up to age 3 like they're saying they should do now? Why not kill Granny? She's not a person either. The government decides. Why not have the biggest prison population in the world? Why not? Why not grab foster children and test pesticides and HIV blood doping drugs on them until they die, even when they don't even have HIV? Why not? In fact, don't even go look it up. I know most of you won't. You'll just say, oh, it can't be true, yeah. Let's go ahead and finish part of that newscast, though. If you're not watching at prisonplanet.tv, go to InfoWars and watch the video. She's happy, healthy beforehand. You see her 2 months later, total concentration camp victim, rotten teeth, eyes sunk in, not eating, tongue hanging out. And CPS lied to the court and said, we're not drugging them, but later it came out they were with hardcore antipsychotics because a 3-year-old was crying. She's 4 now. They're trying to take her again right now. Let's go ahead and finish up part of that newscast out of Houston.
News. Out with friends, you know, holidays, an occasion. Never did it with Rachel around.
Last July, CPS took custody of Rachel.
Well, at first, we didn't see her for 3 or 4 months. They refused visitations.
When they finally got supervised visits with Rachel, family members say they couldn't believe their eyes. You might not either. Check this out. Here's a picture of Rachel that was taken 1 week before CPS took custody of her. Here she is in January, after 6 months in CPS's care.
When I was seeing her in foster care, it was killing me.
Well, every time we'd go to see her at visitation,
She was skinnier.
She would get skinny and she'd, you know, just be lethargic, not wanting to move, not wanting to say hi, and just sort of sit in the corner and just keep to herself.
Not even play.
And that's not her.
She would be drooling at the mouth. Her tongue would be hanging out. She couldn't focus. It was terrible. And I asked them, I said, is she on drugs? They said no.
But in a January court hearing, CPS admitted that the then 3-year-old was put on a number of psychotropic drugs, including risperidone, a drug commonly used to treat schizophrenia.
They take her away from you because they say you all were doing drugs. Then they take a 3-year-old and they put her on drugs.
Yes.
Stop right there.
What do you think about that?
These parents, and I want to get them on the show, better stop having this yuppie, trendy attitude that so many trashy country people think. We just recreationally do cocaine every once in a while. You got predators that want to ruin your life, idiots. They already took her once because you smoked marijuana. You understand that? Don't give them any excuses. It's your fault that you let these predators get at your child. And you obviously still think it's okay what you did. You should have gotten off the marijuana and gotten out of the area. I'd like to punch that father right in the nose. I'll tell you right now, punk, you make me sick. But because you don't understand what you're facing. America doesn't understand what they're facing. But the scumbags do. They'll kill your daughter. They kill people all the time, WOAI investigation showed. They'll put her on so many drugs, they will kill her. They will kill your daughter. While you're sitting there going, we just did it recreationally. You don't give the enemy any excuse. You live an absolutely upright life or they will kill your children. Go out to break with the big fat social workers. Then we're going to come back with Johnny Cash. He's got a message to all of you that are involved in this. Here it is.
No 3-year-old needs to be put on psychotropic drugs. None of them are psychotic.
According to court transcripts, there seems to be a question as to which CPS contracted doctor prescribed all the medications and why. Caseworkers have testified they had to place Rachel in various foster homes because she would act up. She acted up, her parents say, because she wanted to be home with them.
The only way to control her at that time is to dope her up.
Because they kidnapped her. And that's what they do. That's why they do it. When you cry for mommy, they hit you with one drug. And on average, 7. They want to cripple them to get the extra money. And they kill them. They murder your children. They want to murder you and your family, okay? These are pure demons. God, I pray that you punish them now.
Hi, this is Al. Cut you down.
Yep.
Go tell that long-tongued liar.
All right, I'm going to do 20 minutes on the whole Obama birth certificate thing in the next hour, and then we're going to have our guest on. Jon Rappoport on some big medical news. But I also imagine people probably want to comment about the Obama birth certificate situation now that we learned his literary agent, his publicist for 16 and a half years, 91 to 2007, put out that he was born in Kenya and then lived in Indonesia and Hawaii. And that's what all his friends and people keep saying. He had other names, at least 2 other names. They won't release high school, college, none of it. His wife says in all these videos he was born in Kenya. Just like everything else, it's all just over the top. And I see some people saying, well, why does it matter if he was born in Kenya? Because it's unconstitutional, just like everything else. It's illegal. And it means he can be blackmailed with that now. He's run by the Clintons. So even if Obama was a good guy, which he's not, he couldn't because he's totally blackmailed. That's why it's important. It's called being compromised. You know, in the old days, you couldn't be a spy if you had money troubles or if your dad was in prison, because maybe they could use that to get to you. Nowadays, they want people that are compromised. This is a nation of compromised people. Finish up the newscast with the girl. If you saw the photos, folks, the concentration camp victim, look. And this is what they do. It's standard. I cleaned carpets for a summer, and this was 20 years ago. And I didn't know what they were at the time. Then I would ask, what is this? And they go, this is a foster home. And it was like zombie, not kids looking this bad, concentration camp, but living on dirty mattresses and whatever. And then there'd always be some fat Nelly man running around with little girls and boys. And I was just like, ugh, what is this? Now that I'm older and can look back at that, I know what it was. It was pervert palaces with kidnapped kids. I mean, it's hell on earth, man. And all you do-gooders, oh, we're taking children. Oh, I saw my neighbor spank them. I'm going to call on them. I'm good. I'm with, oh, I saw something. Or mean neighbors that don't like you do it. They do it to media people all the time. And then these crazy, bizarre women show up, or a Nelly man who can't hardly talk. And he'll see a dog hair on the ground, and the judge will say, it's an unsafe home, and then throw them into these dungeons. CPS is always getting caught locking kids up in cages and then not feeding them because they want the maximum money. And that's if the kids are lucky. If they just are dungeon keepers who want the money, you get abused, other kids beat you up, rape you, you get diseases. But if you're unlucky, you get in a pedo op. And of course, they can't enforce against them, because, you know, they don't want to bring out what they're doing. And, you know, it comes out here and there. I mean, they admit you're 7 times more likely in CPS care to be raped and get an STD. And it's just these dungeons. It's dungeons locked up in basements. And the pedos get there, and it's time to have fun. Kids are locked up. Pedo gets back. Pedo brings friends over. Texas Youth Commission, they had public pedo parties. Nobody got in trouble for that. State police tried to do something. They just fired the director. And they put directors in there that'll keep the Texas Rangers on a short leash, and the rape rooms continue. And that's just America. That's what America is. I'm going to show you the self-propelled stomachs tonight, but roll us out to break with this, and I'm going to come back.
Judges